stand by. In 3, 2, 1.
Reality. Are you living it?
You are a function of this total galaxy, bounded by the Milky Way, and that furthermore, this galaxy is a function of all other galaxies.
Our reality.
The show that will stretch your consciousness and awaken you to a world of unlimited possibilities. It's time to change the world. It's time for an awakening. It's time for Our Reality. Hosted by your emissary to planet Earth, Violeta Brankovic.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Our Reality, where every week we try to demystify the mystical reality we live in and learn something new from our guests who are very versatile people. Today with us, we have Aisha Ahmed. She's from Toronto, Canada, and currently there. And she deals with emotional healing. So she offers emotional healing and also practices emotion code, which we will be talking about shortly. In Aisha's own words, I grew up in a Muslim Pakistani household where my parents believed in keeping great relationships with friends and family. And since we had a huge family and even bigger and welcoming hearts, we were always surrounded by people in our childhood. The only downside to that was that we were also dealing with a lot of trauma, challenges, and sickness in these people's lives. From a very young age, I had known that I wanted to heal people in any way possible and help them ease their suffering. I was very disappointed when I failed at getting admission to the medical college because I felt that that's the only way I could help people. And I pursued my studies in the computer science and did Bachelor's of Science in CS. I was an IT professional for good 10 years, and although I enjoyed working for the corporate, there was always this inner voice nudging me that I needed to follow my inner calling. However, during all this time, I was also on this inner spiritual journey, which started as getting profound premonitions, dreams, etc. And then I lost my father in 2008 and my sister in 2014. And that's what really set my soul on the journey of seeking answers and finding healing for myself and others. I learned Reiki, hypnosis, EFT, and so many other things, but was always using it either for myself or close friends and family if needed. As they say, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Back in 2016, I welcomed my second baby and was ready to take a break from my corporate job. I kept praying to God to show me the right direction, and that's when I came across this book, The Emotion Code, by Dr. Bradley Nelson. I instantly knew he was the teacher I was looking for and started the certification journey. Since then, there has been no looking back. I'm currently practicing emotion code and body code, and my life has changed completely. I chose to be a stay-at-home mom without sacrificing my passions and dreams. It gives me deep inner peace that I'm able to reach out to so many people on a daily basis and give them hope and show them the light. Although it's sometimes crazy juggling all these hats that I have on, but totally worth it. When you're living your passion every day, you find a way. I truly believe that I'm healing myself as I help people heal. We are one. We're connected and we're all in this together. Hi, Aisha.
Hi, Violeta.
This is a beautiful way to put it. A beautiful bio. How are you today? How is everything in Canada?
I'm doing great. We are enjoying summers. It's a beautiful day. Everything is perfect. Thanks for having me on the show.
You're very welcome. It's not as hot as it is in Vegas, I assume, huh?
No, it's good. It's not as bad. Yeah, and we welcome summers. With the kind of winter that we see, we are okay with the hot days.
Oh, I bet. It's very nice having you on the show. I love having people who heal and who have seen the suffering of people around us, because you are almost something as a psychotherapist sometimes when people actually come to you, right, with different problems. You help them with their emotions and so how was it growing up for you and watching people suffer? How did you feel this pain, and how did this materialize into what it is today, this deep inner knowing and everything you know today?
Right. So, it's very interesting that you took me back to my childhood because, and I truly believe that everything that I've been through in all my life was preparing me to be where I am today. So now it all makes sense. It's like I'm able to see the dots connecting. So I
Mm-hmm.
was very young, and my grandparents, they were sick. So they were staying with us, and I had to take care of them all the time. So especially my grandma, I was very close with her, and she was like bedridden for good 7 8 years. So I kind of grew up seeing her suffer, and her health deteriorating, and then I spent a lot of time in hospitals with her. And that's where I was always thinking that, even though I was very young, but I was always thinking that, is there something I can do that she doesn't have to suffer so much, like physically and emotionally? So I think it all started from there, just the need to help her, and just the need to see her, be in peace. And then it was like, we have a huge family, and there were always something or the other going on. So and I always wanted to be hands on as much as I could. Even I was doing things that kids of my age, they might not be even thinking of doing, like practically helping the people who needed it. So that's how it was. But now I understand that it was all kind of preparing me for something bigger. And it was all to kind of make me open up my heart that yes, there is suffering, but yes, there's also something that we can do about it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you're right. And I always think about people who, we have a path in life that we do. We go to school, we try to do our best, almost like a laid out map, right? And
Yeah.
then sickness either or some event in life, comes almost as a roadblock and we're stuck. I always think about people who are bedridden, who, have cancer, who have been given this diagnosis that, hey, this is it, and then
Mm-hmm.
the emotional body almost gets stuck and hurt, and and you see the other people and they look like their life is going just fine, and you're stuck there, like you mentioned. She was bedridden, for example, and I
Yeah.
think about so many excuse me, so many people who are in that position, and what happens emotionally to a person like that.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I can never forget. Like, because she was also not able to speak, so we had to understand everything just by her expressions, just by looking into her eyes. So very early on, I was kind of being trained to read beyond words, if that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. So it was like
Mm-hmm.
everything she needs, she wants to say, to even, sometimes I could feel that she's trying to project her love towards me, and
Mm-hmm.
that was all through her eyes, all through her face expressions. So you're very right that
Mm-hmm.
it's a
Yeah.
different experience seeing
Yeah.
someone like this. Yeah.
Sure. So you're very empathetic, and you feel this pain. So later on in life, you just chose to make this basically your career now. You're offering. You have a website at www.aishaheals.com, right? And many people from all around the world contact you for healing. What are some of the experiences that you have seen, or some hang-ups people have that when they come to you, they're trying to release, and how do you help them?
Okay, so yes, so it came very early. I feel like, for most part of my life, although I had this feeling that there is something I can do to help people, and for some reason, the kind of personality I had, a lot of my friends, my family, even people at workplace, they were always relying on me to discuss their issues, and it was like they could trust me almost.
Mm-hmm.
But then it was only God takes you to a point where you just have to sit with yourself and make that decision that you cannot just go on with your routine 9 to 5 life from this point onwards, and you need to find your passion. So I feel like there were so many things that brought me to that point, most important being losing very close loved ones like my father. And then it was really after I lost my sister, because that's the time when we came to Canada, and I could not even go back when I heard the news. So that was really when I kind of went into that dark night of the soul, and I was internalizing a lot of things, and I was questioning life, and I was questioning everything. and all the trauma and sadness and everything. And from there I knew that I have to do something, because the kind of person I'm always trying to help myself. Like, I would not ask for help, and I'm not very proud of it. That's
Mm-hmm.
something I'm working on. So I was just trying to get rid of that pain, or come to that acceptance. And that's where it all really started. And then there were things like my daughter needed help emotionally, and so I was looking for help for her. So all of this led me to the emotion code. And the
Mm-hmm.
moment I started doing it, and the moment I started healing, like, I remember that when I cleared my heart wall, there was such a beautiful acceptance. Like, I just knew that the spirits of my father, my sister, they are with me. They are supporting my journey, and I don't have to grieve like before. Like, right, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
yes, the energy has changed the form, but they have not left me. They are, maybe, and then I was able to make an even stronger bond with them, spiritually. So that helped me. And from that point onwards, because I experienced it on myself, I knew that it can help so many more people. There are so many people who are going through something similar or even more. And so that's when I decided that I'll give it a go. I made my Instagram page, and I just started posting and started working there. I had no previous experience about social media or anything whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, when you put this intention, and when you are really trying to be of service to people, because that is, like, every day I come back to this intention, that may God make me of service to people. May I be able to do more for humanity. And from there on, I felt like, just people, I started attracting people, and from all over the world I started getting clients. And till this date, I don't even know how people reach out to me. And sometimes they tell me that they were praying, and they saw my profile show up in their suggestions. And
Mm-hmm.
it's amazing how universe works, and it's amazing how we cross paths with people that we are supposed to work with.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like the most beautiful part of it all is that, even though they come to me for help, so many times I'm the one who feel like healed when I'm working on them.
Mm-hmm.
Because for example, some I'm working on somebody, and there's a specific trauma from childhood that we are working on, and that would trigger something that's still unhealed in me, and that will give me an opportunity to work more on myself. So it's even though it looks like I am doing service to people, but I really feel like it's a two-way communication. It's a two-way healing going on.
Absolutely. They come to us for a reason, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and you have that's healer spirit. Like, I can even feel it while talking to you.
Ah.
Yeah, and we I know we've talked about, certain situations, and you get to hear people's private problems, but I would say, a lot of it has to do with acceptance, right? Acceptance to what happened to us, or maybe, in some cases, acceptance that people around us didn't accept who we were, and so on and so forth. But you're from Pakistan originally, right?
Yes.
Okay, so so also religion and education keeps, is a big background of yours, in the belief in God, and the belief, in basically the unseen, and
Mm-hmm.
you really feel it helps you in your work, right?
It absolutely does. There's one thing that people ask me all the time, like, how do you put this on the religious front? Like, are there any contradictions? But what I have experienced myself in last 2.5 years is that, if anything, I feel like I have grown more religious. Like, my beliefs have strengthened even more with the work that I'm doing, because I see the change happening, and then I see how things unfold for people. And it
Mm-hmm.
all ties back to what I have learned all my life. So if anything, it's making me more, not only spiritual but also religious. So I have not found any contradictions whatsoever, because that is one thing that I got asked the most, especially from the Muslim community,
Mm-hmm.
that if what we are doing energetically, because energy healing is still not very mainstream, although it's becoming mainstream every day. But there are still so many people who have misconceptions about it, and they are like, are you getting help from devil, and so on and so forth.
Right.
So
The
that's one.
famous devil. Yeah.
The famous devil.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I've experienced myself, I tell them that, if anything, it's like you get so close to God, you get so close to, your reality, and your beliefs become more strengthened, that yes, there is a higher power, and he is responsible for healing someone or giving you the suffering, and even that is for a reason. So, connecting all of that together,
Hmm.
it's like, I don't see any contradictions, and
Yeah.
yeah,
I
basically.
agree. I agree. Everything comes from the creator, and unfortunately, some people do not understand, religion correctly, and then they use it to judge other people.
Absolutely.
Whether it be homosexuals, whether it be any kind of, they use it to judge and judge and judge the hell out of us, and and it totally like contradicts religion. The first thing is not to judge, let God judge. But
Absolutely.
so this is nice that you actually found the link between that spiritual work and your religious beliefs. That's amazing. And I accept anybody's beliefs as long as they don't judge me and don't judge other people.
Absolutely.
When they
When
start. Hmm.
yeah, when
Go
I
ahead.
started, for some reason, when I started, all my clients were not Muslims. They were like different religions, right?
Hmm.
So sometimes I would hear specific problems or traumas that they've been through that I was not able to relate because of my upbringing or my religious background. But
Hmm.
that is what has actually opened up my heart to accept anything and everything. What's
Hmm.
their reality is what they have been through, and all I have to do is just get the judgment out of the way. So like you just said, that is the number one take. If somebody asks me what have I learned from this healing work, I feel like it's just to kill the judgment completely, entirely, 100%. Who are we to judge other human being? All we have to do is to hold space, just hear them out. And like you earlier said, that, people kind of think of you as a psychologist or a therapist. That is
Hmm.
so true, because so many times people book the sessions with me. They are expecting healing from me. But more than the actual work that I do, they just want someone to hear them out. They just
Hmm.
want someone to just listen to their issues and just show some empathy. That's all. I feel like it's the biggest human need, to be heard, to be loved, to be understood for who they are. And when they get that, I feel like it has even bigger impact than me doing the actual work.
Hmm. Hmm. No, absolutely. I agree with you. And I agree with you. And what I was going to say, I'm glad you're doing this. And I know that even, people from different religious backgrounds come to you. And, Islam is such a topic because of all the wars going on and everything, and the misrepresentation often in media, and these fanatical suicide killers that don't actually represent Islam at all.
Yeah.
And Islam is peace and wonderful things. It's one of the Abrahamic religions, and the beliefs in Jesus and everything. And a lot of people don't know that. So I'm glad you're able to actually, erase any kind of prejudgments, because it seems what's going on with our world is a lot of true things being misunderstood and misrepresented, and creating havoc amongst people, creating discrepancy between love and what is, and non-judgment, and then people use anything. They could even use love in a bad sense, right? Love
Yeah.
to but I'm glad you're using everything in the right way, and to help people. And as far as emotion code, I this is
Hmm.
the first time I heard it is through you. What is it?
Okay, so it's a latest form of bioenergetic healing. It's
Mm-hmm.
developed on the principles of quantum physics, and basically, what it says is that in our life, everything that we go through,
Mm-hmm.
emotional emotions and physical issues and everything, it's all stored in your subconscious mind. So your subconscious mind is kind of a database that is storing information about anything and everything that you have ever been through in your life, and then things that you have inherited genetically. So and not only that, but it also stores trapped emotions that you have felt through your life that your body was not able to process. So anytime you feel an intense emotion, for example, anytime you have felt extreme grief in your life and your body was not able to process that energy, because emotions are energy, so it will get stuck somewhere in the body, and what it will do is that it will start disrupting the normal energy flow of the body. And then with the emotion code, what we do is we connect to that subconscious part that contains the exact information of which emotion was trapped at what age, what was happening, and so on. And we access that part of the mind. We extract that energy or the trapped emotion out of the body. And as a result, we see that body is now able to heal itself or come back to its vortex or equilibrium. The I feel like the reason why it's more effective than some of the other things that I have been doing before is that we are not trying to suppress anything. We are going direct to the core of the issue. For example, let's say somebody comes to me with back pain. You will be surprised that almost always 90 or even 90% of the issue is due to trapped emotions that their body is carrying. And then when I access their subconscious mind and I find out those exact trapped emotions that are causing the back pain, and I release them, there is no reason for the body to keep giving that pain signal, and the person starts healing. Sometimes the healing is, even instantaneous, like within seconds they feel the shift in energy and their pain has gone away. Similarly, it works amazing for emotional issues like stress, anxiety, PTSD, traumas, and everything. So, and again, the main reason behind that is consciously we are only using 1% of our brain, but our subconscious mind, it contains everything. It doesn't forget anything. So when we are working with that part of the mind, we make sure that we are not losing any information, and we are exactly extracting the information that is the root cause of the issue, regardless of if the issue is physical or emotional or mental. It could be anything.
That's actually very interesting. So you're performing almost like a spiritual surgery in a way.
Absolutely. I tell people it's like I am removing energetic tumors from your body.
Isn't that the truth? Isn't
Yeah,
that the truth? And we're learning more and more that what we go through in our emotional body really impacts our physical body. And and sometimes when people get sick, the first thing we do is go to the doctor, take pills, get a physical surgery, and create even more trauma. And then
absolutely.
and it would be very, very well advised to actually go the other route. I mean, if it's something urgent, for God's sakes, go to the ER and or
Yeah.
something, medical doctor,
Hmm.
take care of it. But I have found also in my life that it is very true that a lot of physical things, a person may be dealing with has to do with unprocessed emotion, especially in childhood or traumatic experiences, and it just festers inside you and then later shows up physically.
Don't even get me started on the childhood trauma. That is the number one reason for all the serious ailments in life, that
Really?
at least from my experience, everyone that I've worked with that have like extreme sickness in their physical body, it all goes back to childhood trauma, either abuse, physical, emotional, mental, you know.
That is so sad. No,
Hmm.
I believe you. I believe you. Yeah, I would love to talk to you more about that. We're going to be taking a short break soon, but when we come back, I would definitely love to talk to you about that more because, me personally, and I'm sure our listeners, a lot of times we think you think you're over something and
Hmm.
however, like you have no idea how much you're actually not over it and still dealing with it, and it's impacting your daily life, and you can't feel as free as you felt as a child before this happened, when you were looking at the world with wonder. So we're going to be taking a short break, dear listeners. Feel free to connect with us on chat, on Twitter, and call in if you have questions at 702-425-9230. We'll be right back.
And now, your emissary to planet Earth, the host of our reality, Violeta Vrankovic.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Our Reality. I'm Violeta Vrankovic, and we're talking today with Aisha Ahmed from Toronto. And feel free to join the conversation anytime by connecting with me on chat, Twitter, or even calling into the show at 702-425-9230. Now, Aisha, it's been nice talking to you the first segment, and we've talked a lot about emotional issues and emotional healing. And you mentioned something about childhood trauma, that it is basically very prominent in all the clients you see, and the clearing of the heart wall, you call it. Can you tell us a little bit more about how that works together?
Absolutely. So basically, what I have seen is that sometimes there are people who are born with the heart wall. Heart wall is basically when we have layers and layers of trapped emotions that have created a wall around our heart. And like, as we know that heart is the center of our soul, the seed of our, creativity, everything flows from the heart. So when the heart is blocked with all these energies around the heart, it impacts everything in life. It impacts our relationships. It impacts our ability to give and receive love freely. It even impacts on the very, very physical level, because when our heart is not able to communicate openly with all the organs and glands, it kind of deteriorates our immune system, causes pain in chest, back, shoulders, and so on. So sometimes, for example, it even starts before birth, like during the prenatal phase. If mom is going through a lot of trauma, the fetus can feel it. And then there are kids who are born with this heart wall. And heart wall is just, subconscious mind's mechanism of protecting our heart from physical damage. So it feels like, because the pain is so much to bear, let's build a wall around it to kind of numb you from the pain. So in short term, it's a good defense mechanism to help you overcome the trauma or the situation. But then when it keeps on growing and it becomes a magnet and attracts more and more negative trapped emotions around your heart, then what happens is you'll see the impacts in your life, in your financial abundance, your relationships, and everything. So then if a child is born with so much emotional baggage and they have a heart wall, they will definitely have difficulties in their development, in their physical, mental, emotional development. And then let's say if they also experience more trauma in early years of their life, especially kids who unfortunately go through any kind of physical or emotional abuse, or even if they see their parents going through a lot of suffering and they were there, they absorb all of that. And then it's like from very young age, certain organs, glands of their body are kind of not energetically functioning properly because of all these trapped emotions that are stuck there. And then eventually over a period of time, it will cause them issues like developmental delays, social anxiety, depression. And not only that, till this date, all the cancer patients that I have personally worked with, and that's not a broad study, it's just the people that I have worked with, I have seen that they have almost always, 99% of them have experienced physical or emotional abuse in their childhood. So, just do the math that how impactful it is that childhood trauma, if it goes unnoticed or unhealed, will cause so many issues later on in life. So,
Yeah.
and the beauty of this work is that it's like non-invasive. It's very gentle. So I work with kids all the time, and that's one thing I love doing, because they are so responsive to this healing. And the moment we clear their emotional baggage, it's like their true soul shines through, and it's a beautiful thing to witness. So, and I tell there are people who ask me if it's safe for kids to get healing early on. And I tell them the earlier you start, the better, because you are giving them chance to show their soul in full expression, in full potential, and grow as they are supposed to be growing, compared to somebody who is taking on trauma of parents and growing with that burden.
That's so true. Now, how is the healing done? Is it through speech therapy? Is it through asking questions? How do you, remove that pain or that suffering from these people?
Okay,
Like,
that's a good question. So the way it works is, and that's another thing that it's amazing, is that I don't see clients in person.
mhm,
When people book with me, I will just confirm their session time and date, and Then what I do is, because when I have their consent, I will be able to connect to their subconscious mind remotely. Like they can be anywhere in the world, sleeping, awake, eating, doing whatever. But when I'm working on them, I connect with their subconscious mind energetically. And the basis of that is that we are all at the very core just energetic beings, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we are just all part of this pool of this universal energy. So in a way, we are all already connected. There is no separation. It's just a 3D illusion. Now we know that actually you and I and everyone else and everything else, we are all connected.
Mm-hmm.
So based on that principle, we use a technique, it's called muscle testing, through which I'm able to connect to anyone's energy field when I have their consent. So I
Mm-hmm.
muscle test, and I'm working on my home, I'm at my desk, and I'm connecting with their subconscious mind, and then I'm able to act as a proxy for them. Like I'm getting answers on muscles of my hands, but they're coming directly from their subconscious mind. And then I'm just basically asking questions. Are there any trapped emotions that are, for example, causing anxiety for this person? Are there any trapped emotions that are causing heartache for this person? Are there any trapped emotions that are causing relationship blocks for this person? And so on and so forth. And then I have a chart of emotions. It has 60 emotions listed. So I will just muscle test, and with the process of elimination, I am able to find out the exact emotion that is the reason behind their issue. And one by one, I keep on removing them one at a time. And
Mm-hmm.
similar thing with the heart wall. Heart wall is like, some people, it depends on, every person has a different heart wall size. So it takes few sessions, but the goal is to bring it down to zero. That means now your heart is free and open. There are no layers, no energetic barriers that are stopping you from connecting to your soul. And trust me, one of the most beautiful thing that I experience, so like very often, is that when I clear people's heart wall, it's kind of like they are nudged to their spiritual awakening. That is the most beautiful thing I've seen, because now they're connected to the core of their being, their soul, and that kind of triggers their spiritual healing as well.
Excuse me. Yeah, that's very interesting. It's very important for people to get that type of healing, because otherwise, people resort to. Sometimes when I see people that are aggressive, I really just see that they're really very wounded people,
They
and
are, yeah.
you know how this. Mm-hmm.
Basically, aggression or anger, it comes from fear, insecurity, and just lack of self-love. So when we clear, and it's all from the past, it's not something happening now. So when we clear all those triggers that they felt in the past, where they felt unloved or unheard, or they felt scared to express themselves, then
Mm-hmm.
their anger and aggression goes away. It's amazing.
That makes sense, though. That makes sense. Because anger cannot come from a place of peace inside themselves. And also another thing that's really rampant in our society, and it might be due to the way that everything's expected of us, at work and school and relationships, is an anxiety. You see a lot of that, right?
I do. Yeah.
Oh, so what is an anxiety? Like, where does it come from, and how do people get healing for that?
Okay, so anxiety is basically when people are anticipating a lot about something that has not yet happened. So they are basically trying to live in the future, and they're not in the present moment. Whereas depression is something that they have experienced in the past and now they are reliving it. So a lot of time when I work on people who are very anxious, and basically again, it all stems from, because they have experienced so many failures in life before, or so many setbacks, that it has this energy so strong in their body that anything that can trigger it to the least will magnify it for them. So I remove their past emotional blocks, but at the same time, I also help them do grounding. I also help them understand the importance of coming back in the now moment. And that is the biggest tool that helps them to kind of, let go of the anxiety, or let go of this anticipation or the fear of something that has not yet happened, but they're just
Mm-hmm.
feeling anxious towards how things will turn out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That makes sense. That makes sense because I've seen it, at work, in myself as well, and and it is usually for me. It's been expectations, like you said, living in the
Mm-hmm.
future. It's
Mm-hmm.
like you're trying to please this person, that boss, that company. It's like
Absolutely.
trying to live up to all the expectations, and you're just finally waiting to breathe, and just be able to be. And you know what? I mean, I'm speaking for myself. I remember when I finally grew up and
Mm-hmm.
became an adult, and I remember that I never again felt that feeling I felt at 12 or at 10, that like the world is a clean slate and I enjoy every moment and it's beautiful. It seems like everything, even like on TV and the media and anything that's surrounding us, it's all about expectation. So people are not able to enjoy the moment. How do you get back to the moment?
That's true. That's so true. Even, even if I think back like 3, 4 years from now, every morning when I would get up, I would be anxious. And, it's like, I don't even know why, but I was just thinking about all the things that need my attention, all the things that I have to do. And, so, but now I understand better that as I've cleared my heart wall and worked on myself and cleared all this emotional baggage from
Mm-hmm.
past, now my body is free. It's
Mm-hmm.
literally like I'm not carrying that energy of worry within me anymore. So now
Mm-hmm.
I am able to come back to the present moment. And that's one thing that I kind of want to take a moment to talk about. That
Sure.
so many times, people would tell you to meditate and to come back to the present moment and to just let go of the worry. But
Mm-hmm.
trust me, working with so many people, I have realized that this is not how it works, and there is a reason for that.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason is that when they are still carrying those trapped energies in their body, when they are still carrying that trauma energy from the past in their body, how can their mind come back to the present moment? So the first thing they need to do is to let go of this past baggage, and then they will be open to get to a point where they are able to come back to the now moment, and they are able to ground themselves, and they are able to even meditate better. So, I
Mm-hmm.
kind of disagree a little bit with this notion that, just come back to the now moment or just let go.
You
Because
know
it's
what? I've been trying to come back to this to this freaking now forever. It's like it's created more stress. Like I'm like, is everybody in the now and I'm the only one not in the now? I'm like, just getting back to the now is like a full-time job. So yeah, I agree with you. I agree. It's like these phrases, maybe by those teachers understand it beautifully, but maybe
yeah.
it's translated, because even emotions have to be translated, ideas have to be translated, not only languages. We think it's only languages, but we need to translate, to make sure it comes on to this person. So yeah, I would agree that first emotional baggage needs to be cleared, and then so let's say for someone, let's say they're not able to afford a session or something. What is the best way for them to help themselves?
Okay, so the best and the easiest way for them is to get the emotion code book, and because Dr. Bradley Nelson, he has done a wonderful job explaining the process in the book. There are so many people that I know that when even people that I work with, and after a while I'm like, you cannot keep on getting sessions all your life. So why don't you, because you see yourself getting better and you are seeing improvement, why don't you learn about it yourself? That's another passion of mine, that I want at least every household to have a practitioner or somebody knowing how to do it, because that's such an important tool to have in your toolkit.
Mm-hmm.
So I tell them to get the book, read it, and just get the basics of how to identify a trapped emotion and remove it, so that you are able to help yourself. So, for anyone who is listening, get the book, The Emotion Code. It's a wonderful read. You'll learn so much amazing new information, but also it has the practical steps of how to release trapped emotions from yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So at least try to learn the muscle testing. And the beauty of muscle testing is that you can use it for so many things. Like you can use it even to test foods, like if certain food is good for your body or not, if a certain mineral or vitamin is something your body needs or not. So that's an amazing skill that you'll learn by reading the book. And then, you know, if you feel like at some point you need professional help, then there are so many people like me and even myself who can help you. Yeah.
And your best way to get a hold of you is Instagram, Aisha Heals, right?
Yes, my Instagram and Facebook handles, they are both Aisha Heals, and my website is www.aishaheals.com. All of these are amazing ways to get hold of me. And, you know, if you just DM me on the Instagram, I'll be able to connect with you directly. Or if you want to go to my website and see everything, you can contact me through that as well.
And you deal literally with any type of trauma.
Absolutely. Yeah. So
Anytime.
there's one thing I want to clarify is that, you know, it all depends on everyone's. That's also one thing I have learned in my journey is that everyone's healing journey is so, so unique. Like I will be doing the same thing with two people having the exact same issue, but I might get different results, or the amount of time it will take for them to heal will be different because it's so many things involved. It's like how your body is carrying the trauma and how much we are able to release and how many more layers show up afterwards. So yes, I have worked with, from the most difficult cases to something very simple as just having a pain in the neck or something. And we have seen amazing results. But it all depends on, you know, how your body is responding to healing, because basically what we are doing is we are removing these energetic misalignments. And then your body, we are just triggering your body's natural healing mechanism. And so how long it will take to heal is very unique to people. But for most people, we see amazing results just by clearing the heart wall and doing some basic body code work. So,
That's wonderful.
yeah.
Have you seen physical ailments heal after some sessions or after some, heart wall clearings?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So I healed my own chronic back pain. So I had back pain for 5 years. And when I was learning about the emotion code and I just very little work, I found out that that back pain was due to the trapped emotions of shock and terror and fear that I got at the time of my when I was having my daughter. So at the time of delivery, and when I released that, my back pain just went away. It's been 2.5 years. I'm pain free. Before that, I was going to the chiropractor office like 3 times a week. It was that bad.
Got you,
So
got you.
yeah, so not only that, I've worked with, sometimes, people come to me with issues that I am not even sure if I will be able to do something. For example, I remember I worked with a girl. She had alopecia, where you lose, chunks of hair from your head and you get
Yeah.
that unexplained baldness. And she had gotten steroids and she had gotten whatnot. And she was a 12-year-old, and her mom was like, my daughter is so depressed that every night I have to keep a close eye on her because I have a fear that she might kill herself.
Yeah.
So when she came to me, I was like, listen, I don't know. I cannot make any claims, but let's do our best. Let's see if it's emotional. And trust me, that is one thing that I keep, I'm still thankful to God that I was able to help her, because just by doing, I cleared her heart wall and then I did few body code sessions. After second body code session, her hair started coming back. And a month after that, she had like a head full of hair, like normal kids, like normal. It was like nothing ever happened. So that was the most amazing thing that I witnessed. And that was the biggest, kind of testimony that just these energetic misalignments and energetic blocks can cause such a huge issue. Yeah.
Yes, I bet, I know what alopecia is. I had it I had it at one time in my life, and it's interesting because it appeared, I was in this very toxic relationship, and it
Right.
appeared at the back of my head. And and I started, you lose hair in one spot. It's absolutely bald in one spot.
Yeah.
And as soon as I broke up with that person and I got rid of them, well, lo and behold, my alopecia went away.
Wow. There you go.
so, so I'm like, there can be some people that are so toxic, not just people, situations that we're in. Maybe,
Yes.
just not to blame the person. The situation was toxic. And
Abs-
once we're, out of that situation, now, do we have to make sure that we clear whatever remnants of that situation might be in us? Or does that happen naturally from some people over a drink or two? I don't know. you
I
know.
think the way our bodies are designed, it's not like naturally. Also, we get rid of these energies and toxins, right? We are
Mhm.
made that way to process emotions. And it's not like every encounter you have in every negative or difficult situation you get into, you get a trapped emotion. It's only when your energy body is weak or has a hole in it, or you're not in a healthier mental state of mind where we get these trapped emotions. So you know a part of it, it's our body's natural immune system doing the work, but then again there's a huge chunk of it that does need clearing. For example, people come to me after breakups and they are like, we just want to get rid of the residual energy. And trust me, there is a thing that, like, people are corded energetically, and then they are still absorbing the other person's trauma, and we clear that, we remove that energy, and they feel lighter, they feel better. And sometimes, even physical symptoms get better just by clearing that relationship energy that they were still carrying from the past.
That's so true. It is true that that what it's almost like a cold. Once it's clear, you feel better, and these emotions that they can do so much damage, and they can do the same thing. I also practice, being surrounded. I mean, I know it's a cliche, but being surrounded by positive people, by positivity, but people who don't burden you. And when you feel someone or something burdens you, I mean, your emotional body pretty much knows what's good for you, what's not good for you, right? And
That's true.
it's by forcing ourselves to stay in a certain situation that's so toxic to us, whether it be work or a relationship. However, sometimes kids, like you say, they don't have a choice. If they have parents that are actually indirectly causing them harm or directly causing them harm, and the kid
Hmm.
unfortunately feels stuck in that situation, and no means to, not even, is underage, not even able to, move past that, and absorbing and absorbing all this trauma is very sad. Indeed, I recommend our listeners to go to your website. It's www.aishaheals.com to connect with you. And, it's been a very nice experience talking to you, because I know you're very knowledgeable about all these things, and can help great many people to it. So I want to thank you for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a wonderful chat with you, and I hope that listeners, they learned something, and they, just the knowledge that to give importance to your emotional body. I feel like just knowing that is important, and then doing the work will make a whole lot of a difference for sure.
Yes, absolutely. I think you brought that home, that we need to look at, if we're going through, back pain, I would have never thought is something that would be emotionally connected. I would think it's bones and ligaments and God
Right.
knows. But I believe you, and I think even
Yeah.
like severe cases like cancer or anything, can be very much connected to our emotions and our past experiences and our disappointments. So, I definitely recommend everyone to, including myself, to go into that and do emotional clearings, because then the world becomes a better place when you're okay emotionally.
It does. It does. It opens up so many doors for you that you don't even expect. Like, so many times people tell me, just removing the heart wall, they get new job, they get into a better relationship, they are able to overcome certain hurdles. So, the
Absolutely.
possibilities are endless.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Aisha. We're at the end of the show. Thank you. I appreciate it. And
Thank you.
be sure, yes, ma'am, be sure to check out her website. Also, tune in next week, as my special guest will be Lauren Pritchard, and we're going to be talking about AI, the Orion warring factions, and the monetary reset. It will be exciting. So we'll talk to you, or you listen to me next week. Until then, everyone stay safe, stay strong, and remember, this is our reality. We're living it. Until next week, bye, everyone.
You've been listening to Our Reality, hosted by Violeta Frankovic. Live every Saturday from the heart of Las Vegas, Nevada, exclusively on the KCOR Digital Radio Network. For more information on the host as well as the show, as well as upcoming guests, please check out our reality show page at kcorradio.com.
Our reality.
From the ordinary to the extraordinary, we've got you covered. Our reality, changing the world, one topic at a time. This is KCOR Las Vegas, home of the Digital Radio Network, broadcasting from a shack just south of Area 51.
Wait, that doesn't exist.
This is the KCOR Digital Radio Network. Now for the news.